Well, welcome back to another From Around Mijas live stream, folks. I'm on my own this week. In these couple of weeks leading up to the elections, I'm going to be doing this on my own because I have a lot of information that I want to pass on to you. The elections, 2 weeks on Sunday, the 28th of May. Uh, I think one of the most important times that we've had in the last 4 years. Um, I I feel sometimes a little bit frustrated because I explained last week why I began to set up the live streams, and it was about a way of getting information and connecting with people. Um, but at the same time, I did this because I am a serving councillor with the Partido Popular in Mijas. We've been in opposition for the last 4 years, and this was part of my contribution for getting the messages out there and getting information out there to people. Now, um, I found it a little bit incredible over the last few weeks, and I have to be fairly blunt here, folks, that on a daily basis, and not just once a day, but several times a day, Vicky and I are out and about, mainly La Cala and up in Mijas Pueblo, because a lot of people from the urbanizations come down to La Cala, and that's where we meet up with them. Um, People have been asking me on a daily basis. Oh, I've got my papers, and what they're talking about really is just the informative document saying that you are on the electoral roll, and this is where your polling station is. But I don't know who to vote for. Now, I think it's a bit insensitive asking me, who should I vote for? Now, political parties from the 4th of April, when the announcement was made about the elections, political parties are not allowed to ask for the vote actually until tonight. Today's the 11th of May, at midnight. So really from the beginning of the 12th of May, we haven't been allowed to ask for the vote. So people are saying to me, I don't know who to vote for. I, at first I thought they were joking, and then I realized they were serious, and I found it a little bit insensitive. I have to be really honest about that. So I'm not going to ask for anybody's vote because I'm not allowed to for another 5 hours. But I am doing this as part of my contribution, part of my work as a councillor on Mijas Council. So let's get that bit out of the way. Now, the other thing that a lot of people are asking about is, what actually happens on election day. Now, there are a couple of things that we need to do. Let me just put this up here on the screen for you. Okay, the first thing we need to know is where our polling station is. Now, I will in the description above this video on my Facebook page, I will add this link in, but there is a page where you can check your uh, your polling station. It is a Mijas page, and when you go down here, you're asked to put in. Actually, I can just to show you, I'm using Google Chrome, but if I click on this little button up here, I can actually magically change it to English, which makes it a lot easier for some people. So you need to put in your details here, okay? Um, your NIE number. So capital letters beginning and end with the numbers in the middle, and then your date of birth in the format that it shows you there. Now, once you've done that, it will, let me just change the screen here. Um, it will bring up a page that looks a bit like this. Right, let me just find this page here. Okay, this is what the page will look like when you put in your details. Now, you'll see that your NIE number comes in there, your date of birth comes in there, and the colegio is really your polling station. This is obviously for me because I can't access other people's data. Is uh, the primary school in La Cala, Garcia del Olmo. It gives you an address, and actually underneath you also see a map. They're not extremely accurate, but it'll take you to the right place. Don't assume that the place you went to in 2019 is the same place that you will go to in on the 28th of May, because there were some changes for the Andalusian elections. It will still likely be a school or a sports centre, but it may not be the one that you went to in 2019. So you can check it out there. And as I say, I will put the link above the description of this video, just to show you where this page is, or just give you the link to this page. Now, let me just see. The other thing, I don't know how many people have registered. We don't have access to the whole electoral rolls yet. And people have been saying to me, and people from the council, oh, not many people have registered. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. The reason for that being that previously people could only register by going to the town hall. But this year, there's been an opportunity to register also by post, with the letter that came in, which you just had to sign and send back free post, or to do it with a digital certificate. Now, I don't know how many people have done it in the alternative ways. So until the electoral rolls are actually available, but we can't say how many people have actually registered. Having said that, a lot of people have been asking me what happens on election day. Now, I've got a short video here which I'm going to play, and it will just explain what happens actually on election day. So here we go, folks. On the 28th of May, you can go to your polling station between the hours of 9 in the morning and 8 at night. Now, you will need to take with you a photo ID with your NIE number on it. A TIE card, Spanish driving license should be sufficient, or your residence document, if you still have the green residence document, with your passport. But bring your passport with you in any case, just in case. Now, in Spain, we don't vote for individuals. We vote for a party list. Now, if there is someone whom you want to vote for, choose the list that they are on. But you know, for them to get their seat, it requires something in the region of 1,000 votes per person on the list. Now, this will vary depending on the population of your municipality, but it's more or less the figure for Mijas with 90,000 inhabitants. So for someone at number 7, for example, to get a seat, the party will need around 7,000 votes. There will be, when you go into the polling station, you will see a table covered with all the ballot papers from all the presenting parties. You can either take a paper from there, or you can go straight into the booth and choose the list for the party you want to vote for from within the booth. You take the party list, you put it in the envelope. You must not mark the paper in any way, or it will be invalidated. Once you have your party list in the envelope, take it to the row of tables where you will see the ballot boxes, and go to the table with the first letter of your surname, show your ID. They will then score your name off the sheet, and now you can put your envelope into the ballot box. That's how it works, folks. Once you've done that, you can go and quite quietly have your barbecue and enjoy the rest of your day. Right. Okay. So that's basically how it works. But when I said the table which relates to your surname, there are probably going to be two tables, and table A and table B. Table A will be something like A to N or A to, I don't know, uh, L or something like that, and table B will be M to Z. So you go to the table that relates to your surname in that sense. So just to stress, you're not voting for an individual, you are voting for a party list. And just to confirm, I am going to be presenting um, on a party list, and this is where I am. I'll be with the Partido Popular. This year, I have been placed at number 13 on the list. So it does mean that we're going to have to get quite a few more votes than we did in the last elections in order for me to actually gain a seat. But that's another story. So, yeah, I am presenting. So, well, after today, if you ask me in the street who to vote for, I can tell you. But up until now, I'm not in a position to do that because we're basically not permitted to until the 12th of May. Okay. Yesterday, we had a second meeting of the international community up in Mijas Pueblo, and there were quite a number of issues raised there, and I'll just fill you in just to give you an idea of the kind of things that were raised in Mijas Pueblo. I'm going to read them because I've got a terrible memory, folks. Um, yeah, in that area, and we're talking about Mijas Pueblo, Osanillas, La Alquería. There have been a lot of problems with connection to the sewage systems, which obviously has other problems in terms of the status of the houses. Um, but there was some work done, but it was done kind of back to front. Instead of starting the connection at the main sewage system in sort of Fongirola area and working up the way, they started at the top to work down, and it's not really been connected yet to the main sewage system. Um, Other issues in Mijas Pueblo. Now, if you don't live there, it's not a daily issue for you, but whenever you go up there, it is likely to be. And as we head towards the summer, it will most definitely be is parking. And we all agree that things need to be done with regards to the parking in Mijas Pueblo. There are not, people complain about the parking in La Cala, but at the very least, we have a plan B, which is the fairground, the Recinto Ferial. Mijas Pueblo, there isn't really a plan B, and it is quite problematic. Residence for the elderly was raised it was raised by people in Mijas Pueblo, and that is certainly something that we're also very interested and very concerned about. Another issue that was raised, which I think relates not just to the Pueblo, it relates to down in the La Cala area as well. And I say La Cala area because I include the urbanizations to the west of La Cala, which was how do we get this balance between tourism, which I don't think anyone will argue that we need. So many people basically rely on a day-to-day basis on tourism just to make a living. But how do we get this balance between tourism and doing things that are good for the residents? And we've kind of raised this issue a couple of times on our live streams. So yeah, I think that these are really quite they're really quite valid issues. Um, I had also sent to me, and if I can just find this, um, so some questions that sent from someone that I'm in contact with fairly regularly, and I thought I would just put these questions up on the screen. Um, Here we are. So, okay, will the party make public a manifesto outlining the party's vision for the future of Mijas? The answer to that is yes, we will. We have this is the 11th. On Sunday the 14th, we have the presentation of candidates, and the manifesto will be uh, publicized then, and then it will be available afterwards. I will be working on it to translate it into English for you folks. And if we can get it in some other languages too, that would be quite useful. Um, Another question. A recent Mijas seminar newspaper reported a large surplus of government funds. How might the party spend this money? Well, actually, we don't have a large surplus of government funds. We did have until the end of last year, when basically all of the money in the surplus was committed to projects. For example, 32 million initially was set aside for the park in the middle of nowhere. 17 million was committed to underground parking in the Los Santos area, sort of behind the big Carrefour in Las Lagunas. And to various other things. 6 million has been committed to the summer mega concerts. So actually, as at the end of 2022, I don't know if that's changed, the uh, municipal auditor actually said to us that not only had we committed all of this money, but we were actually 5 million in debt from the money that we had, the surplus that we had, and the commitments for that money. It's not all spent, but it is a lot of it is committed. So yeah, I mean, to be honest, we would need to wait and see what happens if we get into government, about how many of these things are in tablets of stone, or how many can still be changed. Will the party support the staging of the summer pop concert to be held in La Cala de Mijas? You know, people said to me, because I made some comments about, oh, you're against it. I'm not against it. Um, what I was against was the investment of 1.2 million plus all the other costs, which probably cost us about 4 million, certainly for the first concert, in terms of the preparations, the extra police time, and the actual sponsorship of the concert, to 1.2 million. Again, it really doesn't come down to whether we support it or not. There has been a contract signed, and if that contract, if the promoter holds up their part of the contract, then in order to not go ahead with the concert, it could cost Mijas a lot of money to indemnify the promoter who has signed the contract with us. So it's not really a simple thing about do we support it or not. It really comes down to, has the contract been signed in a way that there's a get out clause or not. Um, I would have to say, I think there's a lot of things we could spend 1.2 million on. Um, Theo Mijas, for example, the hotel school in La Cala, would keep that running for almost a year. But these decisions have been taken out of our hands in many ways. The other question there, with the severe water shortages, do we have any plans to introduce water saving plans or restrictions? Well, this is not just down to Mijas Council, because this really comes down to the water companies, Akasol being the main water company, which actually belongs not to Mijas, but to 10 municipalities, 8 of them along the coast, from Torremolinos all the way down to Estepona, and 1 or 2 inland local authorities as well. So Akasol belongs to all of these. It's called the Mancomunidad. So really, the decision to introduce water savings doesn't just come down to Mijas Council. But I think I have to be honest. I think we are heading in that direction. But we know that already the reservoirs were down to 25%. People have been talking about, desalination plants. We need to build desalination plants. Well, again, this is not up to councils to do. I think that this is up to the Junta de Andalucía. but it may even be that central government has to poke its nose in there as well for desalination plants, and they are not they're not a fix all because desalination is, for example, desalinated water is no good for watering your garden. Yeah, I know you think water is water, but actually, all of the minerals and salts that the plants need to survive are taken out. So it'll keep your garden wet, but won't necessarily nourish it. So this is not a decision just by Mijas Council. This is something that would be done by the Mancomunidad or ACASOL, the company belonging to this association of the 10 municipalities along the coast, and like Benavis and okay, and one or two on the in a part of the Costa del Sol. So, folks, that's where we are. I hope you will find the information about the voting useful, because I really do want to see us as an international community getting more involved in not in local politics, but in the local life of our council. And like it or not, it doesn't matter whether you're political or not. It is local politics that decides where the money is spent. And if we're not, inside there, um, making our elected officials accountable, um, our complaints about not being happy about how our money is being spent really don't. I was going to say don't carry much water, but that's not a good analogy when we're short of water at the moment. So, a kind of short one tonight, but I hope lots of information that will be helpful, useful, or interesting to you. Vicky and I are just heading off to the launch of the Mijas Eagles Rugby Club this evening when we finish here. So we're looking forward to that. I will be back next week. And maybe I will tell you who you can vote for next week, but I can't tell you for another 4.5 hours anyway. Thanks to those of you who have joined in this evening, and have a great weekend when it comes. And I will see you next week.